Hi, my name's Jeff, and I experienced the deaths of my wife, parents, best friends, and niece. And I want to talk to you about the decision to um, to make that transition to hospice. There are a few moments in my life that have become an inextricable part of my soul. Um, the good ones, when I asked Amy to marry me, it's a miracle she said yes. When we got married, that was such a good party. When she told me she was pregnant, when the girls were born, those are really, really happy memories. But I also carry the day that she received a terminal diagnosis, the moment that she realized that she was paralyzed and that she couldn't walk anymore. And then maybe outside of her dying, the hardest of all, and the one that still weighs heaviest, was when we had to give up on treatment and focus on her comfort in her last days. Um, a little about me. I'm driven, I'm disciplined, hardworking person. At the time, I used to like to feel like I controlled everything. This was a moment that taught me how foolish that was. I was helpless. I was totally helpless. That made me angry. I was bargaining and negotiating. I wanted more time. But death waits for no one. It asks for no courtesies. Is given no convenience. And it introduces itself only in chaos and destruction. And it's weird because as heavy and as big as this moment may seem, the truth is that when that moment came, it was quick. And I was unprepared for it. It was almost like a casual bedside conversation. Amy was paralyzed. She was in a bed. And she was in the process of doing an experimental radiation treatment and was hospitalized at Sloan Kettering in New York City. Her neurosurgeon came in, and I still remember the words. He said, "Well, as we expected, the treatment isn't working. So it's time to think about how we can make a transition into full-time care environment." And he gave Amy a hug, and he walked out, and then his assistant sat down and talked to us. And I kept thinking about those words. You know what he didn't say? He didn't say, "She's about to enter into active dying. And you're going to need a lot of medication, and you're going to need someone to be with her to help guide her and to help guide you." And I kind of wish in the time that they were much more explicit and honest about that. But, I don't take it personally. I'm not saying anything bad about them. We just do a terrible job of talking about death here. So my advice is to stop thinking that you have any control over the situation. I know that's hard to hear. Start from the person you love and then work backwards. Whether you think it's time or not time, the truth is, we don't know. I think people choose when they want to die. That's my personal view. But regardless of that, there was some truth to what Amy's doctor said. What Amy needed at that time was a different kind of care that could have been given to her in the hospital or an assisted living facility. And that's the driver. The pain management, the guidance from professionals who know that this is a totally surreal process, yet at their level predictable. The driver is the illness, and that has its own character. It's causing this situation, not the person who's got to make the decision to enter either the next level of care or to stay. From my experience, the choice to go to hospice was the most loving thing that I could do for Amy at that point. But ironically, it was the most painful thing that I ever did to me. And look, these are just words, right? I know that this is really hard. I've been through this 3 times in my life, and it doesn't get any easier. And it sure as hell doesn't make any sense. Just want you to know that I'm really sorry for what you have to go through. I want you to know how much you are loved. And it may feel like you're alone with this decision, but there are people like me who are here, who will always be straight with you and want the best for you. I once read a book whose theme was that the pleasure then is part of the pain now. You can't pick and choose. Or think about a quote from Aeschylus that Robert Kennedy once said. "Even in our sleep, pain which cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart until, In our own despair, against our will, comes wisdom through the awful grace of God. I wish you love, and I wish you wisdom.